Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jana Lieber, MTA Chair and CEO, here with, in no particular order, Shanifa Riera, the Chief Customer Officer, always sporting a green number that makes an impression, and little old Demetrius Critchlow, the President of New York City Transit, but also an amazing team that put together the map that we are rolling out today. With special tip of the hat to Steve Flam and Chuck Gardere. There's a retirement in the offing for a member of that team and everybody who's worked on this. Also, not to be forgotten, although he stood in the back like he's one of my staffers, Andrew Albert, a member of the MTA board who is passionate about this subject and a ton of other stuff. So listen, it is not every day that we get to unveil a new New York City icon. Today, that's what's brought us together. There's a new subway map, ladies and gentlemen, the first major redesign since 1979, almost 50 years ago. Been years in the making. The result is a map that is much easier to read, but also reflects all the enhancements that we've made over the years. But it still preserves the spirit of the previous versions. The real superfans out there will recognize the colors that were established in the famous Taranaki map. And those of you who are into this know that stuff, which was the multi-line approach that map took and the general aesthetic first introduced in 1972 by Vignelli, but with bolder colors and clearer text. But back to what I think is an important milestone for me, which is think about what was going on in 1979. It was the time of the first MTA capital program when finally New York that I grew up in was starting to attack the fact that the subway system was falling apart. And look at what we've changed, and so much of it is reflected on this map. We have 150 plus ADA stations. 2nd Avenue subway up to 96th Street, the 7 train going all the way west to Hudson Yards. We've got a train on Roosevelt Island. We've got the shuttle. Anyone notice the shuttle has been redone and is amazingly modern, the oldest, what used to be the oldest part of our system. New station at South Ferry. And stuff that you don't see, all those signal improvements that have made the L train and the 7 train, and now so many other trains modern. We've got Omni installed on the whole system, MetroCard, and new fare payment is on the way. We have made so much progress, but all those things will be for naught, and I have to emphasize it, if we don't invest in the unseen things that people since '79 didn't touch. The old signals, the falling apart structure, the power substation. So that's why, even as we're celebrating getting into modern age, we're also recognizing this is a linchpin moment, like 1979, when we started to fix the subway system. Back to the map. When you get to looking at this new map, you're going to see it on digital screens. We're replacing the remaining physical maps in the subway system. It's going to be done in phases. But I do want to again acknowledge the Creative Services Department for their hard work. Reimagining something as iconic as the New York City subway map is no small task, and you all have done an amazing, amazing job. Shanifa does oversee all things customer service, and I am always grateful for her leadership and her wisdom and the success that she's had in improving our entire customer service operation. Amazing work. And kudos always to the team in New York City Transit. Demetrius and I met this morning, and we are hitting new records for this month in terms of subway performance. Ladies and gentlemen, this subway system is operating better than it has in not just a decade, but maybe 20 years. So Demetrius, congrats on what you're doing. And I'd like to ask you to come to the podium and talk a little about the map.
Exciting day. You know, there are so many things that New York is known for, so many things that New York is iconic for. You could talk about the Bronx. You could talk about Times Square, the Statue of Liberty. You could talk about Harlem. You could talk about Jay-Z and his famed New York Yankees cap. Like, there's so much that makes New York what it is. The thing that ties them all together which is without question iconic, is the subway system. Puts together all of the dots for everything you need to see at New York. The map that we've used for the last several decades, it's come and gone. Time has come and gone. It's time for something new. So we're all excited about this new map. There's something about the map that you just know. Like everyone knows when they see a subway map, it doesn't matter what country you are in or where you're traveling for, everyone has seen a subway map. The colors, the design, it tells a story of things that we used to do. They can say, I remember when I traveled from this portion to this portion to do this. Ties stories and lives together. Customers who ride out our system frequently, they've seen some of this already on the overnights and the weekend tours, where we've already had a digital version that's already shown customers how to better connect, shown better connections on local versus our express lines. The map also makes it clearer for transfers. Now, for those of you who like to transfer to other systems, there is no map like this new map to show where you need to go in our system. And Shanifa is always very big on saying, Central Park is not as big as what our map used to convey it to be. Well, these folks have identified what the real right selection should be. As Jano said, we've already begun to roll this out. And over the next couple months, we're going to roll this out through the entire system, all of our cars, all of our stations, and it will continue to be on our weekends and our night teams. I can't wait to see it, I got to tell you. But without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Shanifa, her and her team have just done an amazing job of seeing the need. And listen, it was not an easy thing to do, meeting folks who are passionate about the subway system and the maps that are there already in. So, Shanifa, without further ado.
Thank you, Demetrius. And I really want to sincerely thank you for your partnership. Without New York City Transit, this would have not been possible. But I know, my team has been thanked, but I cannot thank them enough. Undertaking this enormous project, I cannot underscore how big and significant it is. I was before we left the office, was talking to the chairman and was saying, in our professional careers, we don't have many opportunities where we can leave behind or make our mark on legacy projects. So for me, this is a very humbling experience. And to work with the team behind me who have been dedicated and diligent in their approach to getting us here today was not an easy feat. New Yorkers, as we know, have lots of opinions, and as Demetrius and the chair colorfully display, that the map is so iconic that people are wedded and emotionally tied to the map. So taking on this task and changing it was a no-fail exercise, and the team behind me stepped up because they knew our customers deserve the best. So thank you, Ray. So just to put it in very simple terms, our approach was to make this map inclusive for all. Looking at it, the wayfinding is so much simpler to orient yourself. The colors are bold, and it just, it's just reader friendly. So our customers, can orient themselves more quickly, especially those with visible limitations and cognitive disability. They all deserve to ride and navigate the system the way everyone else does. As Jano mentioned before and Demetrius alluded to, we've already rolled out the map on R211s on the digital screens, and they are up in the system on all our digital screens, and we have begun the task of putting them in every single subway cars. Other changes and customer improvements we've rolled out to accompany this map design is that we have increased the frequency of real-time data. So now every 5 seconds, the countdown clocks will match so our customers can have real-time train arrival information. We also have new screens that will also flash to alert customers when trains are approaching, and will feature a new arrow ahead on the digital screens that will point to which side of the platform the train is arriving on. With these updates, we also are fixing issues faster, because we do hear from customers if a clock is out of sync. So we have dedicated the team, and we have improved on technology where the system will now manually report these issues instead of relying on customers for us to hear from our customers. So these are the kind of improvements that our customers want to see. And we took cues from our riders, going into the system, doing transit talks, doing a bunch of surveys, because we love our surveys, and also talking to our frontline employees. So all of those feedback were incorporated, and we continue to use to build the system much better and improving the customer experience. So, thankful for this, customer focus approach, and that is the MO of the new MTA, and I am proud to have been part of this project. So thank you all for being here today.
I'll join for that.
All right, questions first, if that's all right. We'll do that after. Be the climax of the entire proceedings. You ready for questions?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's start with Andrew Siff of WNBC. So much to cover, Andrew. So many improvements, so many changes in customer service. Where to begin?
Should I begin with the fact that it isn't new to people who've seen it on digital screens since October? So people who've seen it on digital screens, maybe you can point this out. What's the big reveal today? What are people who haven't seen it going to notice?
So, Andrew, as we said, the map has not been changed for about 50 years. And again, building on, New Yorkers have very strong opinions, and someone I knew took an image of the map on the screen, and it unearthed all these conversations and opinions on social media. So, again, taking a diligent approach, we wanted to socialize it with our customers, having it out on digital screens, getting incoming and getting feedback, which have allowed us to make tweaks and improve, improvements even up until yesterday. And again, cannot underscore the contribution of board member Andrew Albert, who's been readily available coming into the office and talking to the team. So we wanted to take a slow approach before rolling it out and putting a physical map, and making it locked.
As a quick follow-up to that, can you give us an example of a late tweak? So what's something that's really brand new that someone pointed out, and it could be one of these artists if you want, but what's something that's brand new to this digital
Sure,
map?
I'll invite Steve up, who's been very close to this. Yep.
Just introduce yourself, please.
Stephen Flam, Mapping Creative Services. There are countless improvements to the map. One of the recent changes, focus groups said that transfers weren't immediately apparent. So if you look at 14th Street Union Square, you'll see a different treatment for hubs and complexes that make it more obvious so people know that they can get their trains in that station. The other thing that we worked on recently was the skip stop service for J and Z. So we have a different treatment for that to make it more helpful and more clear for people. And you can also see that the legend is a little bit more detailed and streamlined to make it very clear for people how to ride the subway.
All right, let's move to Sean Piccolo from
Everything
Sorry.
I didn't know. And no, I have nothing to add to that.
I think he was congratulating Stephen on the great work.
Yeah.
And let's go to Sean Piccolo from the New York Times.
Hi, Sean.
Thank you. Could you give us a sense of the timeline for the replacement of the old maps with the new on the trains and in stations? Like, do you have a target date for when that will all be complete?
Hi, I'm Chuck Gordon there, part of the marketing group here at headquarters. So it'll take us several weeks to replace all the maps on all the subway cars. So what's happening now is that the new map is being put ink on paper, and then we'll start rolling it out on subway cars. And just to add a quick note to what Shanifa just said, yes, this has been on screens for some time, but it has not been on paper. It has not been in our subway cars. And that's what's new today, is that we're making it the front and center keystone map of our system.
I mean, would you say 2025 is a reasonable?
Oh, absolutely. It'll take only a few weeks. Yes.
All right, Chuck is the resident historian here on maps at the MTA. Let's go to Doug Williams from CBS 2. Doug.
Hi all, thank you. So the fact that it's now on paper, been on digital screens for some time, does that mean that the tweaking phase is over?
Yes.
Okay, so that's simple enough.
Yeah, the final version is what's being unveiled today. Steve, you have a question? Steve Nesson from WNYC in Gotham. Is Steve in the second row back here?
Hey, just if you have any examples of feedback from the public that you incorporated into the final map design?
Hi. Well, as I mentioned before, the hubs, that was like a very, very big topic that came up again and again with our focus groups, and that was one of the primary things that we focused on. People were also talking about making the airports a little bit more obvious. So we included the icon that we use at all of our stations for the airports. But those are the two primary things that people were requesting.
And just one other question. You mentioned tweaks to the countdown clocks. Maybe I missed it, but what exactly has changed to make them more accurate?
So one bit of Kevin Call, I run service communications. So we heard from customers in surveys that they want more arrival times on screens. That was a big piece of feedback that we incorporated in the new designs. Whereas before we had some strips, strip maps, some dashboards, some arrivals. Now every screen features arrivals front and center. In fact, the type is huge. You can now see it from across the platform, from across the station. That's a significant change to the design that's now being rolled out across all divisions.
All right, thanks everybody. We're going to do an unveiling right over here now. So if all of you folks could come right to this map. This is the old map, and we're going to pull down the old map and reveal the new map right over here. And for a lot of newsrooms, dozens of newsrooms watching on live stream, once we're finished with this, we're going to feed you a B-roll package that shows installations starting in the subway cars.
But it's bigger. No.
Private conversation going on over there with Steve Nesson. Yeah. All right, we're moving over to the map now. It's the Nesson exclusive is being paused for an unveiling. Demetrius Critchlow, everybody, stepping to the map. Andrew Albert stepping to the map. Stephen stepping to the map. Chuck, come on over. Kevin, come on over. This is the map unveiling now.
How much bolder this is as you see the
Ray is going to explain. Do we know how we're doing this? Okay, so this is going to be a count. We're ready? 3, 2, 1. Let's have a map.
Got it, everybody?
Let's get a picture real quick. You guys.
Come on in, Coach.
Again, for you, those of you watching in the newsrooms on the live stream, we're about to feed you a B-roll of the maps being installed on the first train cars. Stand by.